You ever have a day where you're just trying to start your new life and before you know it, you're a character in someone else's personal soap opera? That's how it felt. The first morning we moved into Maplewood Estates, a place that looked like the kind of suburb they show in commercials where every lawn is manicured and the mailboxes are perfectly aligned like the HOA sent out a memo about curb appeal in all caps. My wife Rebecca and we'd hunted for months for a spot just like this, picturing cookouts and quiet evenings, maybe finally getting some peace. Instead, our welcome wagon came screaming at us in the form of Patricia Williams, the HOA president, neighborhood busybody, and self-appointed queen of absolutely everything. I still remember that first moment, Rebecca unloading boxes in the driveway, barely a foot on the curb, when Patricia materialized like a thunderstorm in tennis shoes. Clipboard clutched to her chest, her hair styled within an inch of its life. She looked us up and down with that smile people reserve for times they're about to hand you a fine or a court summons. "Excuse me," she says, "I'm Patricia Williams, president of the Homeowners Association, and I need to know what exactly you two are doing here. Like we'd broken into our own house. You know what I mean." I could tell Rebecca was already over it, but she played polite, said her name, said mine, said we'd just moved in from Denver, trying to keep it light. But Patricia, she zeroed in on previous job, eyes narrowing, and I knew we were in for it. "Government work," Rebecca answered, not missing a beat, and went back to the movers. But Patricia wasn't done. "I'll need documentation," she announced, and HOA approval forms. "We run a tight ship here. She might as well have had a little crown on her head." Next thing I know, she's parked herself across the street lawn chair and binoculars in hand, tallying up violations, moving trucks too loud. The permit is an inch off-center grass too long by half an inch. 7 formal notices in our mailbox by sundown, all signed by her impeccable looping signature. Rebecca stayed calm, which probably rattled Patricia more than if we'd shouted. By the time night rolled around, Rebecca was busy setting up security cameras on every corner, moving with this silent, cold focus I'd never quite seen before. Let me back up a sec, because here's where things really start to get wild. It's midnight. I can't sleep. I check one of those new security monitors, and there's Patricia in the dark, crouched by our front door, trying the handle, snapping photos through the window, like she was casing the joint. My first instinct was to storm outside, but Rebecca stopped me with a single look. "Let her," she said. "She's establishing a pattern." That was the first hint that my wife wasn't just some ex-government worker. She was playing chess while Patricia was busy with checkers. The next few days, violations started coming in hot and heavy. Painted mailbox was the wrong shade of black. Car wasn't perfectly centered in the driveway. $25 fines piling up, $300 by week's end for things that wouldn't pass the laugh test in any sane place. "We need to fight this," I said. Rebecca just kept filing everything away in a folder labeled "Evidence, cool as you please." That Monday, things went nuclear. Patricia started yelling at Rebecca by the mailbox, waving violation letters like she was casting a spell. Neighbors peeked out of windows, some watching, some obviously enjoying the drama. "I run this neighborhood," Patricia shouted, her voice carrying halfway down the block. "We don't tolerate troublemakers." She went door to door, afterward clipboard in tow, warning families about the dangerous new people, telling everyone how we were ruining the property values and probably plotting something terrible. Within days, people who'd waved when we arrived now looked away or ducked inside. The couple across the street pointed their cameras toward our house, and then Patricia organized an official neighborhood watch, a whole email blast about recent security concerns, and you could feel the paranoia creep in. Patricia was stalking us by then, following Rebecca's morning runs in her SUV, sitting in her car outside for hours, scribbling in her little notebook. All of it done in the name of community safety, of course. Meanwhile, Rebecca was building her own case. Photos, timestamps, video. "Harassment, stalking, intimidation, abuse of authority," she said one night, as if reading charges from an indictment. Every day she digs herself deeper. It was the tone that told me this wasn't just personal, it was professional. Then came Patricia's masterstroke, calling the police. She did it from her front porch, loud enough for everyone to hear. There are military people next door with weapons. I'm afraid for my life. Please send officers immediately. You could almost see her basking in the attention as the sirens wailed closer. Now here's where the movie would hit the climax. Rebecca, unflappable, grabs her purse and waits. When the police roll up, Patricia clutching her chest, practically sobbing about her poor, innocent neighborhood, Rebecca steps forward with 2 IDs, her driver's license, and a military police investigator's badge. The officer's face went from skeptical to respectful in about 2 seconds flat. The color drained from Patricia's face, and for the first time since we moved in, she didn't have a comeback. The officers weren't buying her act anymore. Ma'am, one said to Patricia, you just filed a false report against a decorated veteran. Suddenly, Patricia's loyal audience was a whole lot quieter. Mrs. Henderson just shook her head. The couple who'd avoided us now looked embarrassed for ever believing her. It would have been sweet to see her cuffed right there, but Rebecca wasn't done. She declined to press charges, at least not yet. See, Rebecca had been digging. Her military background, financial crimes. She'd already found years' worth of HOA records tracking thousands in expenses that never showed up in the neighborhood. Fake repairs, phantom landscaping payments for pool resurfacing on a pool that was never touched. The kicker. Patricia's husband Mike showed up at our door, hands shaking, a manila envelope in tow. She made me help. He confessed, dropping invoices, bank statements, fake signatures on our table. 50 grand gone just like that. Rebecca told him gently but firmly that what he was showing her wasn't just HOA drama. It was a federal crime. Mail fraud, tax evasion, theft, conspiracy. You're doing the right thing, she promised him. You'll be protected if you cooperate. Mike left looking lighter, but Patricia's fate was sealed. The next evening, Patricia called an emergency HOA meeting, her big final act, complete with microphone and projector, claiming the security of the community was at stake. She rolled out her greatest hits chart, statistics, photos of our supposed violations. She called for a vote to remove us, citing a petition with half the neighborhood's signatures. And then Rebecca stood up cool and collected and calmly took over the presentation. She clicked through slide after slide of forensic accounting, showing every dollar stolen, every fake invoice, every bank transfer. Then Mike took the floor, spilling the rest of the beans, his voice cracking, as he described how Patricia threatened to ruin him if he didn't play along. Patricia tried to fight back, but nobody was listening anymore. Even her most die-hard supporters were turning away, some making calls, others just looking ashamed. And when Officer Johnson stepped in from the back of the room and placed her under arrest, fraud, theft, conspiracy, it felt like the whole neighborhood let out a breath it had been holding for years. Patricia was led away in handcuffs. Her reign finally ended. The HOA voted to remove her, and Mike got immunity for coming forward. Neighbors who'd once avoided us brought pies, casseroles, and awkward apologies. Within a week, a for sale sign went up in front of Patricia's house, and just like that, the nightmare was over. Rebecca and I sat on our porch watching her house empty out, feeling for the first time since moving in like maybe we could start fresh. "Feel good about how this ended?" I asked her. She just nodded eyes on the last moving box and said, she needed to face consequences. This was the only way to really make it stick. So was justice served? Did the neighborhood get its piece? Or is there always another Patricia waiting in the wings? You tell me, was Rebecca too harsh or exactly right? Let's hear it in the comments. What would you have done? Ever taken down a bully in your own backyard? I want to know how you'd handle a Patricia. Like, share and sound off below, because when it comes to community, sometimes justice has to start right at home.